The rain falls heavy against the windows of the small Brooklyn apartment where Lily Parker sits alone at her kitchen table. A single cupcake with a melted candle sits in front of her, untouched. Today she turns 32. Today she also signs the papers that will officially end her 3-year marriage to a man she realizes she never truly knew. The pen trembles in her hand as her tears fall onto the legal documents, smudging the ink where her signature should go. She had dreamed of so many things for her life, but sitting alone on her birthday, finalizing a divorce from a husband who simply vanished from her life 18 months ago, was never part of that dream. Lily wipes her eyes with the back of her hand and forces herself to focus on the words printed before her. Dissolution of marriage, irreconcilable differences, division of assets. The language is cold, clinical, completely inadequate to describe the warmth that once existed between her and Daniel Mercer. She remembers the day they met 4 years ago in a coffee shop in Manhattan where she worked as a barista while finishing her nursing degree. He had walked in wearing a perfectly tailored suit, his dark hair slightly wet from the spring rain, and he had looked at her as though she were the only person in the entire city. That look had changed her life. Within 6 months, they were married in a small ceremony at City Hall, just the two of them and a witness they had found on the street. For the first year, everything seemed perfect. Daniel was attentive, generous, and deeply protective of her in ways that made her feel cherished. He bought them a beautiful apartment in a neighborhood she could never have afforded on her nursing salary. He surprised her with flowers for no reason. He held her through her nightmares about the car accident that had taken her parents when she was 19. But he was also mysterious. He worked late hours that he never fully explained. He received phone calls that made him leave the room. He had meetings that lasted entire weekends, and he would return exhausted but unwilling to discuss what had occupied his time. When she asked questions, he would kiss her forehead and tell her that some things were better left unknown. She loved him too much to push. She trusted him completely. Then, 18 months ago, Daniel simply disappeared. No note, no warning, no explanation. One morning she woke up and he was gone. His clothes remained in the closet. His wedding ring sat on the bathroom counter. His phone went straight to voicemail, and then the number was disconnected entirely. She filed a missing persons report, but the police seemed strangely uninterested in pursuing the case. A detective visited once, asked a few questions, and then never contacted her again. She spent months in agony, imagining terrible scenarios, grieving a man who might be gone forever. And then, 3 months ago, she received divorce papers in the mail. No return address, no letter of explanation. Just cold, impersonal legal documents requesting that she dissolve their marriage. The papers had been prepared by an attorney she had never heard of, at a firm that seemed to exist only on paper. She had tried calling the number listed, but no one ever answered. She had driven to the address only to find an empty office with a secretary who claimed she had no knowledge of anyone named Daniel Mercer. It was as though her husband had become a ghost, existing only in her memories and in these documents that demanded she erase him from her life entirely. Lily picks up the pen again. Her hand still shakes. She thinks about all the nights she has spent wondering what she did wrong, what she could have done differently to make him stay. She thinks about the way he used to look at her, with such intensity and devotion, and she cannot reconcile that man with someone who would abandon her without a single word. But she is tired of waiting. She is tired of hoping. She is tired of being in love with a ghost. She signs her name on the first page, then the second, then the third. Each signature feels like a small death, a piece of her heart being carved away and discarded. By the time she reaches the final page, she is sobbing openly, her entire body shaking with grief she has kept bottled inside for far too long. The cupcake sits forgotten. The candle has melted into a shapeless puddle of wax. Outside, thunder rumbles across the Brooklyn skyline, and lightning illuminates her small apartment in harsh, unforgiving flashes. This is not how she imagined spending her birthday. This is not how she imagined her life would unfold. She folds the signed documents and slides them into the envelope that came with them. The instructions said to leave the envelope in her mailbox and it would be collected. No return address necessary. More mystery, more shadows, more proof that her entire marriage was built on secrets she was never allowed to understand. Lily walks to the window and stares out at the rain-soaked street below. A black car is parked across the street, its windows tinted so dark she cannot see inside. She has noticed that car before, always parked in the same spot, always present but never moving. She used to think it was paranoia, the product of too many sleepless nights and too much anxiety. Now she wonders if perhaps she has been watched this entire time, observed by forces she cannot comprehend. Her phone buzzes on the kitchen table. She walks back and picks it up, expecting to see a birthday message from one of the few friends she has managed to keep during her self-imposed isolation. Instead, she sees an unknown number and a message that makes her blood run cold. Do not mail those papers. I'm coming to explain everything. Stay inside. Trust no one. She reads the message 3 times, her heart pounding so hard she can hear it in her ears. The number is blocked. There is no way to reply. She looks at the envelope in her hand, then back at her phone, then at the black car still parked outside her window. For the first time in 18 months, Lily feels something other than grief. She feels fear. The knock on her door comes exactly 7 minutes later. She has spent those 7 minutes frozen in place, unable to decide whether to call the police, hide in her bedroom, or pretend she is not home. The knock is firm, but not aggressive. 3 measured beats that somehow convey both authority and patience. She approaches the door slowly, her phone clutched in her hand, her finger hovering over the emergency call button. Through the peephole, she sees a man she does not recognize. He is tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark suit that fits him like a second skin. His face is angular and serious, his eyes scanning the hallway with the alertness of someone accustomed to danger. The man speaks through the door. His voice is deep and calm. "Miss Parker, my name is Marcus. I work for your husband. He sent me to bring you to him. We need to leave immediately. There are people who want to hurt you and they know where you live." Lily's breath catches in her throat. "Your husband." The words echo in her mind, colliding with the reality of the signed divorce papers still sitting on her kitchen table. Daniel is alive. Daniel sent someone to find her. Daniel believes she is in danger. She does not open the door. Instead, she asks the question that has haunted her for 18 months. Where has he been? Why did he leave me? Marcus pauses before answering. There is weight in his silence, the kind of weight that suggests the truth is far more complicated than any simple explanation could convey. Those are questions only he can answer. But I can tell you this much. He never stopped watching over you. He never stopped loving you, and right now he is risking everything to keep you safe. Lily looks at the envelope on her kitchen table. She thinks about the signature she just wrote, the legal declaration that she was ready to let Daniel go. She thinks about 18 months of silence, of grief, of slowly rebuilding her life around an absence that never made sense. And now, on her birthday, the same day she finally found the courage to move on, her past has come knocking at her door. She makes a decision. She is not sure if it is brave or foolish, but she knows she cannot spend the rest of her life wondering. She needs answers. She needs to understand why the man she loved vanished without a word. She needs to see his face one more time, even if it is only to say goodbye. She opens the door. Marcus nods once, a gesture of respect for her courage. He reaches out and takes the envelope from her hand. "You will not be needing this. Not until you know the truth." He leads her down the hallway into the elevator and out into the rain-soaked street where the black car she has been watching for months is now waiting for her, its rear door already open. She hesitates at the curb. "Where are you taking me?" "To a place where you will be safe. To a place where everything will finally make sense." Lily takes a deep breath. She thinks about her empty apartment, her melted birthday candle, her lonely life of unanswered questions. Then she climbs into the car and lets the door close behind her. The car pulls away from the curb and merges into the nighttime traffic of Brooklyn. Through the tinted windows, Lily watches her apartment building grow smaller and smaller until it disappears entirely. She has no idea where she is going. She has no idea what awaits her. But for the first time in 18 months, she feels something that resembles hope. The drive takes nearly 2 hours. They leave Brooklyn, cross into New Jersey, and eventually turn onto a private road that winds through dense forest before opening onto an estate that takes her breath away. The mansion is enormous, a sprawling testament to wealth and power that seems almost impossible in its grandeur. Stone walls, towering windows, gardens that stretch into the darkness like something from a fairy tale. Security personnel in dark suits patrol the perimeter, and cameras track the car as it approaches the main entrance. Lily stares at the mansion and feels her entire understanding of her life begin to shift. Daniel was never a simple businessman. Daniel was never the modest, hard-working man he had presented himself to be. Daniel has been hiding an empire. The car stops at the front entrance. Marcus opens her door and offers his hand to help her out. Lily steps onto the gravel driveway and looks up at the mansion looming above her. Rain still falls, but here it seems softer somehow, as though even the weather must show deference to whoever lives in this place. "He is waiting for you inside," Marcus says. "Second floor, the study at the end of the hall." Lily walks through the front doors and into a foyer that gleams with marble and crystal. A chandelier the size of a small car hangs from the ceiling, casting warm light, across artwork that looks like it belongs in a museum. Everything about this place speaks of power, of money, of a life completely foreign to the small apartment where she has been struggling to pay her bills since Daniel left. She climbs the staircase slowly, her hand trailing along a banister that has been polished to a perfect shine. Her heart pounds harder with every step. 18 months of questions are about to be answered. 18 months of grief are about to find their resolution. One way or another, she reaches the second floor and walks down the hallway Marcus described. At the end, she finds a door that is slightly open, warm light spilling through the gap. She can hear movement inside, the soft clink of glass, the shuffle of papers. She takes one final breath and pushes the door open. Daniel Mercer stands with his back to her, staring out a window that overlooks the estate. He looks exactly as she remembers him, tall and dark and impossibly elegant. But there is something different in his posture now, a weight in his shoulders that was not there before. When he turns to face her, she sees that weight reflected in his eyes, a profound sadness mixed with something that looks almost like fear. "Lily," he says. Her name sounds like a prayer on his lips, a word he has been waiting to speak for 18 months. Happy birthday. And despite everything, despite the anger and the grief and the 1,000 questions burning in her chest, Lily feels tears begin to fall again. Because the man she loved is standing right in front of her. Because he is alive. Because somehow, impossibly, this is only the beginning. Check if you are already subscribed to this channel. If you are someone who loves stories that touch the deepest parts of your heart, that keep you holding your breath until the very last second, then this is exactly where you belong. Subscribe now and join the family. The study is warm and filled with the scent of old books and expensive whiskey. Bookshelves line every wall, filled with leather-bound volumes that look as though they have been collected over generations. A fire crackles in a stone fireplace, casting dancing shadows across the oriental rugs that cover the hardwood floors. It is a room designed for serious conversations, for decisions that shape the course of lives and empires. Lily stands just inside the doorway, her wet clothes dripping onto the priceless carpet, her body trembling from cold and shock, and the overwhelming weight of everything she does not yet understand. Daniel has not moved from his position by the window. He watches her with an expression that is impossible to read, his dark eyes searching her face as though memorizing every detail. "You owe me an explanation," Lily says. Her voice cracks on the words, but she forces herself to continue. 18 months, Daniel. 18 months of nothing, no call, no letter, no sign that you were even alive. I thought you were gone forever. I mourned you. I tried to rebuild my life, and now you send someone to collect me like I am a package? Who are you? Who have you been this entire time? Daniel takes a slow breath. The firelight catches the sharp angles of his face, illuminating the exhaustion etched into his features. He looks older than she remembers, worn down by whatever burdens he has been carrying in the time they have been apart. "Everything I did," he begins, his voice low and careful, "I did to protect you. I know that sounds inadequate. I know it. Does not erase the pain I caused. But you need to understand that leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever done. It nearly destroyed me. Every single day, I wanted to come back to you. Every single night, I watched you from a distance, making sure you were safe, hating myself for not being able to hold you." Lily shakes her head. "That is not an answer. That is just more mystery. I need to know the truth, Daniel. All of it. No more secrets. No more half-explanations. Tell me who you really are." Daniel is silent for a long moment. Then he walks to a table near the fireplace and picks up a photograph in a silver frame. He brings it to her and places it in her hands. The photograph shows a younger Daniel, perhaps 20 years old, standing beside an older man who shares his dark hair and angular features. They are both dressed in formal suits, and they are standing in front of this very mansion. "My father," Daniel says, "Giovanni Mercer. He built this empire from nothing, starting in Sicily and expanding across Europe, before eventually establishing our family in America. He was respected. He was feared. He was one of the most powerful men in the criminal underworld of the Eastern Seaboard. And when he died 10 years ago, he left everything to me. The businesses, the networks, the alliances, the enemies. All of it." Lily stares at the photograph. The word criminal echoes in her mind, colliding with every memory she has of the gentle, loving man she married. "You are telling me you are a crime boss. You're telling me our entire marriage was built on a lie." "Not a lie," Daniel says firmly, "a protection. I fell in love with you the moment I saw you in that coffee shop, Lily. Your smile, your kindness, the way you looked at me like I was just a man, not a name or a reputation. I wanted to give you a normal life. I wanted to be the person you saw, not the person I was forced to become. So I kept my two worlds separate. I thought I could make it work. I thought I could love you without ever letting the darkness touch you. But it did touch me," Lily whispers. "It took you away from me." Daniel closes his eyes. Pain flickers across his face like a shadow. "Yes. 18 months ago, a rival organization discovered that I had a wife. They saw you as leverage, as a way to control me. They made threats that I could not ignore. If I stayed with you, they would have used you against me. They would have hurt you to hurt me. The only way to keep you safe was to make them believe you meant nothing to me. So I disappeared. I filed divorce papers. I let the world think our marriage was over. And I have spent every day since then making sure no one realizes how much I still love you." Lily feels the room spinning around her. She reaches for the back of a leather chair to steady herself. All of this, everything she thought she knew about her life, has been an illusion. Her husband is not a businessman. Her marriage was not abandoned. She has been living inside a story she never knew existed. "Why now?" she asks. "Why bring me here tonight?" Daniel moves toward her, his steps slow and deliberate, as though approaching a wounded animal. "Because the threat has changed. The organization that targeted you before has been eliminated. I spent 18 months dismantling them piece by piece, cutting off their resources, removing their leadership, ensuring they could never threaten you again. But in doing so, I made new enemies. Powerful enemies, who have discovered that you still matter to me. They are coming for you, Lily, not to use you as leverage this time, to hurt you, to punish me by taking away the only thing I have ever truly loved." Lily's hands are shaking. She looks at the photograph of Daniel and his father, then at the man standing before her, and she tries to reconcile these two realities: the barista who fell in love with a handsome stranger, the wife of a criminal empire, the woman who signed divorce papers on her birthday, not knowing her husband was watching from the shadows. "What do you want from me?" she asks. Daniel reaches out and gently takes her hands in his. His touch is warm, familiar, achingly tender. I want you to stay here, where I can protect you. I want to explain everything, every secret I have kept, every decision I have made. I want to earn your forgiveness, if such a thing is even possible, and I want to give you a choice. Once you understand everything, you can decide whether to stay or go. I will not force you. I will not trap you, but I am asking you, Lily, give me a chance to make this right. Lily looks into his eyes and sees something she has not seen in 18 months. Vulnerability, desperation, love that has survived distance and silence and impossible circumstances. She thinks about the divorce papers she signed just hours ago, the declaration that she was ready to let him go. She thinks about all the nights she spent crying herself to sleep, wondering what she had done wrong. And she realizes that she is not ready to make any decisions. Not tonight, not until she understands the full scope of what she has stumbled into. I will stay, she says slowly, for now, until I have answers. The relief that floods Daniel's face is almost painful to witness. He squeezes her hands gently and brings them to his lips. Thank you. That is all I can ask. He leads her out of the study and through the mansion, showing her to a suite of rooms that have clearly been prepared for her arrival. The bedroom is elegant and comfortable, with a 4-poster bed draped in silk, a fireplace already crackling with warmth, and windows that look out over the rain-soaked gardens. Fresh flowers sit on the dresser. New clothes hang in the closet, all in her size, all in colors she loves. He has been watching her. He has been preparing for this moment. This will be your space, he says. No one will enter without your permission. You are free to move anywhere in the mansion, but please do not leave the grounds. Not until we have neutralized the current threat. There are guards everywhere. They answer to me. They will protect you with their lives. Lily walks to the window and looks out at the darkness. Am I a prisoner? Daniel shakes his head. You are a guest. A very important guest. The most important person in my world. He leaves her then, closing the door softly behind him. Lily stands alone in the beautiful room, surrounded by luxury and mystery and the echoes of a love story she never knew she was living. She sits on the edge of the bed and tries to process everything that has happened. This morning she was a divorced nurse living alone in Brooklyn. Tonight she is the hidden wife of a crime boss, surrounded by armed guards in a mansion straight out of a movie. Her entire identity has been rewritten in the space of a few hours. She should be terrified. She should be furious. She should be demanding that Marcus drive her back to her apartment immediately. But instead, she feels something unexpected. Curiosity. The 18 months of silence finally have an explanation. The man she loved did not abandon her. He sacrificed their happiness to keep her safe. It does not excuse the pain, but it does reframe it. He was not running away from her. He was running toward danger so she would not have to. Lily lies back on the silk pillows and stares at the ceiling. The rain continues to fall outside, gentler now, a soft rhythm that slowly lulls her into an exhausted sleep. Her last thought before unconsciousness takes her is of Daniel's eyes, dark and wounded, asking for a chance he does not believe he deserves. She dreams of the coffee shop where they met, of spring rain and accidental eye contact and a smile that changed everything, of a love story that was never as simple as she believed. When she wakes, the rain has stopped. Sunlight streams through the windows, painting the room in shades of gold. For a moment, she forgets where she is. Then, memory floods back, and she sits up quickly, her heart racing. She is still in the mansion. She is still in the middle of a world she does not understand, but she is determined to understand it. Starting today. The first week in the mansion passes in a blur of revelations and adjustments. Lily spends her days exploring the estate, learning its rhythms and routines, and slowly piecing together the scope of Daniel's empire. The property is vast, encompassing not just the main mansion but also several outbuildings, staff quarters, a medical facility and training grounds where security personnel practice, with an intensity that speaks to the seriousness of the threats they face. She meets the people who keep this world running. Marcus, the head of security, who treats her with a formal respect that gradually warms into something approaching friendship. Elena, the housekeeper, a silver-haired woman from Spain who seems to know everything about everyone but shares nothing unless asked. Chef Antonio, who prepares meals that rival any restaurant Lily has ever visited, and who seems genuinely delighted to finally cook for someone who appreciates his artistry. And she sees Daniel. Every day, sometimes multiple times, he joins her for breakfast in the sunlit conservatory. He walks with her through the gardens in the afternoon. He sits across from her at dinner and answers every question she asks with careful, measured honesty. He is giving her what she demanded, the full truth, and the truth is more complex than she ever imagined. He tells her about his childhood, raised in this mansion by a father who loved him fiercely but also prepared him relentlessly for a role he never asked for. He tells her about the legitimate businesses that form the public face of the Mercer Empire, real estate and import companies, and venture capital firms that operate entirely within the law. He tells her about the other businesses, the ones that exist in shadows, and he does not minimize or romanticize them. He is honest about the violence that sometimes accompanies power, about the compromises that have been necessary to survive in a world where weakness is fatal. He tells her about the night he left, about receiving intelligence that a photograph of their wedding had been obtained by enemies, about the hours he spent pacing this very study, trying to find another way, any other way, to keep her safe, about the moment he realized that the only path forward was to remove himself from her life entirely, to become a ghost so that she could remain invisible. "I watched you every day," he confesses during one of their evening conversations. "I had people stationed near your apartment, following you to work, monitoring your safety, without you ever knowing. There were nights when you cried yourself to sleep and I was sitting in a car outside your building, wanting nothing more than to walk up those stairs and hold you. But I could not risk it. One moment of weakness could have gotten you killed." Lily listens to all of this with a mixture of emotions she cannot fully untangle. Anger at the deception, yes, but also understanding of the impossible position he was in, grief for the time they lost, and underneath it all, something that feels dangerously like the love she thought she had buried. One evening, as they walk through the garden in the last light of sunset, Lily asks the question that has been burning in her mind since she arrived. What happens now? You said the threat has changed. How do we make it stop? Daniel stops walking. He turns to face her, his expression serious. There is a man named Victor Castellano. He controls a significant portion of the criminal operations on the West Coast. He was an ally of my father, but he has always resented the Mercer family's power. When I began dismantling the organization that threatened you, I inadvertently weakened a network that Victor had been using for his own purposes. He sees me as an enemy now, and he knows that hurting you would hurt me more than anything else. Lily feels a chill that has nothing to do with the evening air. So this Victor, he is the one we are hiding from. Not hiding, Daniel corrects. Preparing. I have no intention of spending the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders. Victor needs to be dealt with permanently, but I need time to do it properly, time to gather intelligence, time to position my people, time to create a strategy that protects everyone I care about. And what is my role in all of this? Lily asks. Am I just supposed to wait here being protected while you fight a war? Daniel's jaw tightens. If you have suggestions, I am listening, but I will not put you in danger. That is not negotiable. Lily shakes her head slowly. I spent 3 years married to you, Daniel. I thought I knew you. I thought I understood our life together. And then I spent 18 months grieving you, thinking you had abandoned me, wondering every day what I did wrong. Do you have any idea what that was like? Do you understand how it felt to believe that the love of my life simply decided I was not worth staying for? Daniel's composure breaks. Pain floods his features, raw and undeniable. Every day, he says, his voice rough. Every single day I wanted to tell you the truth. I wanted to come back to you. I wanted to hold you and apologize and beg for your forgiveness. But I knew that if I did, if I weakened even once, Victor's people would have found you. They would have used you against me. And I will not let anyone hurt you. You are everything to me, Lily. You have been everything since the moment I saw you." The words hang in the air between them, heavy with 18 months of suppressed emotion. Lily feels tears threatening again, but this time they are not tears of grief. They are tears of something far more complicated. "I do not know if I can forgive you yet," she says honestly. "I understand why you did it. I even believe that you thought it was the right choice. But understanding is not the same as forgiving. I need time." Daniel nods. "Take all the time you need. I will be here. I am not going anywhere. Not ever again." They stand in the garden as the last light fades from the sky. Two people who were once everything to each other, now trying to find their way back through a landscape of secrets and pain. If this story is touching your heart, if you feel something inside you stirring as you listen to these words, I want you to do something right now. Leave a comment saying, "Love always finds a way." Type those words and feel their truth. Because no matter how dark the night, love always finds a way. The days continue to pass. Lily begins to find a rhythm in this strange new life. She offers her nursing skills to the medical facility on the property, helping to treat the minor injuries that occur during training exercises. The work gives her purpose, a sense of usefulness in a world where she often feels like a passenger rather than a participant. She also begins to reconnect with Daniel in small, careful ways. They play chess in the evening, a game he taught her during the first year of their marriage. They cook together in the massive kitchen, laughing at their failures and celebrating their successes. They talk about books they have read, movies they want to see, dreams they still hold despite everything that has happened. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the walls around Lily's heart begin to soften. One night, 2 weeks after her arrival, Lily cannot sleep. She wanders through the darkened mansion, her bare feet silent on the marble floors. She finds herself drawn to the study where Daniel first told her the truth, and she is not surprised to see light spilling from beneath the door. She knocks softly and enters when he calls. Daniel is seated at his desk, surrounded by papers and photographs, his face illuminated by the glow of a computer screen. He looks exhausted, but his expression brightens when he sees her. "Trouble sleeping?" he asks. Lily nods. She walks to the chair across from his desk and curls into it, tucking her feet beneath her. Too much to think about. Daniel leans back in his chair and rubs his eyes. "I know the feeling. What are you working on?" He hesitates, then turns his computer screen so she can see. The display shows a map of the West Coast, marked with pins and lines and annotations she does not understand. Victor Castellano. I am trying to find his weakness. Lily studies the map. She does not understand the strategy, but she understands the stakes. This is the threat that kept her husband away for 18 months. This is the enemy that stands between them and any possibility of a normal life. "What happens if you find it?" she asks. Daniel meets her eyes. "Then I end this. Permanently." "And if you cannot find it?" Daniel does not answer. His silence speaks volumes. Lily stands and walks around the desk. She places her hand on his shoulder, feeling the tension coiled in his muscles. Daniel looks up at her with an expression of such raw hope that it takes her breath away. "We will find it together," she says. "I am not a soldier, but I am not helpless either. Let me help you." Daniel takes her hand and presses it to his lips. "I have already put you in danger just by bringing you here. I cannot ask you to do more. You are not asking. I am offering. We are still married, Daniel, at least until I decide otherwise. That means your problems are my problems too." For a long moment, Daniel simply looks at her. Then slowly he nods. Together he agrees. "We will figure this out together. It is not forgiveness. It is not a promise of forever, but it is a beginning. And for two people who have already lost so much, a beginning is everything." The breakthrough comes 3 weeks later, from an unexpected source. Lily is in the medical facility, treating a security guard who twisted his ankle during training, when Marcus enters with an expression of barely contained excitement. He waits until she has finished bandaging the injury, then approaches with a folder in his hand. "You need to see this," he says. "It could change everything." Lily follows him to the main house, where Daniel is already waiting in the study. The desk is covered with new documents, photographs, and what appears to be financial records. Daniel looks up as she enters, and she sees something in his eyes that she has not seen before. Hope mixed with determination. "One of my contacts in Los Angeles made a discovery," Daniel explains. "Victor Castellano has a daughter, Sofia. She is 23 years old, and she has been estranged from her father for over 5 years. She testified against him in a federal investigation, then disappeared into witness protection. Victor has been searching for her ever since." Lily frowns. "How does this help us?" Daniel points to one of the photographs. "Sofia Castellano left witness protection 6 months ago. She changed her identity and started a new life in Portland. She works at a non-profit that helps victims of organized crime. She has dedicated her life to opposing everything her father represents." "So she is vulnerable," Lily says slowly. "If Victor finds her, he might try to hurt her. Or use her," Daniel agrees. "But that is not my intention. Sofia hates her father. She has been quietly feeding information to federal authorities for years, hoping to see him brought to justice. If we can reach her, before Victor does, if we can protect her and work with her, she could give us everything we need to dismantle his organization." Lily considers this. It is a dangerous plan, requiring trust in a woman they have never met, coordination with federal authorities they have no reason to believe would cooperate, and exposure to risks they cannot fully anticipate. But it is also the first real possibility they have discussed, a path forward that does not involve endless hiding. "What do you need me to do?" she asks. Daniel hesitates. "I need you to make contact with Sofia. You are a nurse, a caregiver, someone who represents everything opposite to the world she grew up in. She will trust you more easily than she would trust anyone associated with me." Lily feels a flutter of fear in her chest. "You want me to leave the estate?" "Only for a day. Marcus will be with you the entire time. You will meet Sofia in a public place, explain who we are and what we are offering, and give her the choice to hear more. If she refuses, you walk away and we find another approach. But if she agrees, we could finally have a path to ending this." Lily looks at Daniel, then at Marcus, then at the photograph of Sofia Castellano. The young woman in the picture has dark hair and serious eyes, a face that has clearly seen too much pain for someone so young. She looks like someone who has been fighting alone for too long. "I will do it," Lily says. "When do we leave?" The trip to Portland happens 2 days later. Lily travels in an unmarked car with Marcus and 2 other security personnel. She wears ordinary clothes and carries no identification linking her to Daniel or the Mercer family. To anyone watching, she appears to be nothing more than a woman going about her daily life. The meeting takes place in a coffee shop near Portland State University. Lily arrives first, choosing a table near the window where she can see the street. Her heart pounds as she waits, her hands wrapped around a cup of tea she has no intention of drinking. Sofia arrives exactly on time. She is smaller than Lily expected, with delicate features and eyes that scan the room with practiced vigilance. She approaches Lily's table and stands there for a moment, assessing. "You are the one who contacted me," she says. Her voice is soft but wary. Lily nods. "Please sit down. I promise this will not take long." Sofia sits, but she does not relax. Her posture remains tense, her hands flat on the table as though ready to push herself up and run at any moment. Lily speaks quietly and directly. She explains who she is, what she knows about Sofia's father, and what Daniel is proposing. She emphasizes that they are not asking Sofia to put herself in danger. They are offering protection, resources, and a chance to finally see Victor Castellano brought to justice through legal means. Sofia listens without interrupting. When Lily finishes, she is silent for a long moment. "Why should I trust you?" she asks finally. "How do I know this is not a trap? How do I know your husband is not planning to use me as a bargaining chip with my father?" Lily thinks about this question. She thinks about her own journey, from grieving wife to reluctant participant in a world she never asked to enter. She thinks about the choices she has made and the reasons she has made them. "You should not trust me," she says honestly. "You have every reason to be suspicious. But I can tell you that 6 weeks ago, I did not know any of this existed. I was a nurse in Brooklyn, signing divorce papers because I thought my husband had abandoned me. Now I am sitting here, in a city I have never visited, trying to convince a stranger to take a leap of faith. I am not asking you to trust me, Sophia. I am asking you to consider the possibility that you do not have to fight alone anymore." Sophia studies her face. Whatever she sees there seems to shift something inside her. "I need time to think," she says. "How do I contact you?" Lily slides a phone across the table. "This is secure. Call any time, day or night. Whatever you decide, thank you for hearing me out." Sophia takes the phone and stands. She looks at Lily one more time, her expression unreadable. Then she turns and walks out of the coffee shop, disappearing into the Portland afternoon. Lily exhales slowly. She has done what she could. The rest is out of her hands. The call comes 4 days later. Sophia wants to meet again, this time with Daniel present. She has information she is willing to share, information that could expose her father's entire operation. But she has conditions. She wants immunity for herself and protection for her mother, who is still trapped in Victor's world. She wants assurance that Daniel's intentions are genuine, that this is about justice and not just another power struggle between criminal factions. Daniel agrees to everything. The meeting is arranged for the following week, at a secure location halfway between Portland and New Jersey. For the first time since Lily arrived at the mansion, there is real momentum, a sense that the endless waiting might finally be coming to an end. But Lily also notices something else. The atmosphere in the mansion has changed. Security patrols have doubled. Staff members speak in hushed tones and avoid meeting her eyes. When she asks Daniel what is happening, he hesitates before answering. "Victor knows we are planning something," he admits. "He has been probing our defenses, testing for weaknesses. He has not made a direct move yet, but he will. We need to move faster than we planned." What does that mean for the meeting with Sophia? It means we cannot wait a week. We need to meet her tomorrow. The meeting takes place in a small hotel in Pennsylvania, chosen for its anonymity and its multiple exit routes. Lily accompanies Daniel and Marcus, along with a team of security personnel who secure the building before anyone else arrives. Sophia appears nervous but determined. She carries a laptop and a folder of documents, physical evidence of her father's crimes that she has been collecting for years. She speaks for 3 hours, detailing money laundering operations, corrupted officials, and networks of intimidation that span multiple states. Daniel listens intently, asking occasional questions, making notes on a tablet that will be encrypted and destroyed after the meeting. When Sophia finishes, the room is silent. The scope of what she has revealed is staggering. Victor Castellano is not just a crime boss. He is an architect of corruption, a man who has woven himself into the fabric of legitimate institutions so thoroughly that exposing him will require dismantling entire systems. "This is enough," Daniel says finally. "This is more than enough. With this information, we can coordinate with federal authorities who have been building cases against Victor for years. We can provide evidence they could never obtain on their own, and we can do it in a way that keeps all of you safe." Sophia looks at him with eyes that hold years of pain and hope. "My mother, you promised." Daniel nods. "She will be extracted before any action is taken against your father. I have already positioned people to protect her. When the time comes, she will disappear, and your father will never find her." Tears stream down Sophia's face. She does not try to hide them. "Thank you. I have been fighting alone for so long. I never thought anyone would actually help." Lily reaches across the table and takes Sophia's hand. "You are not alone anymore. The drive back to the mansion should take 4 hours. It takes 7. 2 hours into the journey, Marcus receives a communication that makes his face go pale. He speaks rapidly into his earpiece, then turns to Daniel with an expression of controlled alarm. "We have a problem. Victor's people are mobilizing. They know Sophia met with us. They are sending teams to intercept us before we reach the estate." Daniel's jaw tightens. "How many?" Enough that we cannot fight our way through. We need to divert to a safe location and wait for reinforcements. The next 5 hours are a blur of tension and rapid movement. The convoy changes direction multiple times, taking back roads and doubling back to confuse any pursuit. Lily sits in the back of the armored vehicle with Daniel and Sophia, watching the landscapes flash past and trying to control her racing heart. Eventually, they reach a farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania, one of many safe locations that Daniel maintains. Throughout the region, security personnel sweep the building and establish a perimeter, while Lily, Daniel, Sophia, and Marcus gather in a kitchen that smells of dust and disuse. "We wait here until morning," Daniel announces. "Reinforcements will arrive at dawn, and then we complete the journey to the estate. Until then, no one leaves this building." The night is long and tense. Lily tries to sleep, but finds herself lying awake, listening to every sound outside the window, imagining threats in every shadow. Around midnight, she gives up and walks downstairs to find Daniel sitting alone in the kitchen, staring at his phone. "Any news?" she asks. He looks up, his face weary. "The teams Victor sent have been searching for us all night. So far they have not found this location, but we need to move at first light. The longer we stay in one place, the greater the risk." Lily sits across from him. She reaches out and takes his hand, a gesture that has become increasingly natural over the past weeks. "We will get through this." Daniel squeezes her hand gently. "When this is over, when Victor is no longer a threat, I want to give you a real life. Not hiding, not running, a home, a family. Everything we should have had from the beginning." Lily feels her heart constrict. She thinks about the divorce papers she signed 6 weeks ago, the declaration that she was ready to let him go. She thinks about everything that has happened since then, every revelation, every danger, every moment of unexpected connection. "Ask me again when this is over," she says softly, "and I will give you an answer." Dawn arrives with the sound of helicopters. Reinforcements have arrived, a small army of security personnel who quickly establish a perimeter around the farmhouse. The convoy is reorganized, with additional vehicles and personnel to ensure safe passage. The final leg of the journey passes without incident. When the mansion comes into view, Lily feels a wave of relief so intense it brings tears to her eyes. They are home. They are safe. At least for now. But as the vehicles pull up to the entrance, something feels wrong. The usual security presence is absent. The front doors stand open, and when Daniel steps out of the car, his face goes white. "Stay here," he commands, already running toward the entrance. Lily does not listen. She follows him inside, her heart pounding, her mind racing with terrible possibilities. The foyer is in chaos, furniture overturned, paintings torn from walls, and in the center of the destruction, written in red paint on the marble floor, a message. "You took my daughter. I will take your wife." The hours after discovering Victor's message are the worst of Lily's life. She is not actually taken. The message is a threat, a declaration of war, a promise of what Victor intends to do. But the violation of their home, the proof that Victor's people penetrated their defenses, is almost as devastating as an actual attack. Daniel transforms before her eyes. The tender husband who brought her flowers and played chess with her in the evenings disappears. In his place stands the head of a criminal empire, cold and focused and absolutely terrifying. He issues orders in rapid succession, reorganizing security, interrogating staff, analyzing every inch of footage from the mansion's surveillance systems. They find the breach quickly. A member of the household staff, recently hired, was actually an operative for Victor. She has since vanished, but the damage she caused lingers in every violated room, every piece of destroyed property. The next 3 weeks are a carefully orchestrated campaign of pressure and precision. Working with the federal authorities Sophia identified, Daniel provides intelligence that allows coordinated raids on Victor's operations across 5 states. Bank accounts are frozen, key personnel are arrested, supply chains are disrupted. Victor's empire, built over decades, begins to crumble. But Victor himself remains elusive. He has gone underground, surrounded by his most loyal guards, waiting for an opportunity to strike back. The opportunity comes on a Tuesday evening when Lily is walking in the garden with Marcus. A single shot rings out from the tree line beyond the estate's perimeter. Marcus pushes her to the ground and covers her body with his own, as security personnel swarm toward the threat. The shooter is gone by the time they reach his position. He left behind only a shell casing and a note. "Next time I will not miss." That night, Daniel makes a decision. He will not wait for Victor to come to them. He will go to Victor. The plan is dangerous but carefully constructed. Daniel has identified Victor's location, a compound in the mountains of Montana, where he is hiding with a handful of loyal guards. A coordinated assault timed to coincide with a federal operation against Victor's remaining infrastructure will neutralize the threat once and for all. "I am going with you," Lily announces when Daniel tells her the plan. "Absolutely not," he responds immediately. "You cannot stop me." She meets his eyes with a determination that matches his own. "I have been hiding and waiting for 2 months. I have watched you carry this burden alone. I am done being protected while you risk everything. We are partners, Daniel. That means we face this together." They argue for hours. Daniel presents every logical reason why she should stay. Lily counters with every emotional argument for why she cannot. In the end, exhausted and out of options, Daniel agrees to a compromise. She will travel with the convoy but remain at a secure location nearby while the operation unfolds. She will be close enough to be informed in real time, but far enough to be safe if things go wrong. The operation begins before dawn. Lily waits in an armored vehicle with Sophia and 2 security guards, watching on a tablet as Daniel's team approaches Victor's compound. The feed is grainy and fragmented, but she can follow the basic progress. Perimeter breached, guards neutralized, building secured. And then suddenly the feed cuts out. For 17 minutes, Lily hears nothing. She grips Sophia's hand so tightly that her knuckles turn white. She prays to a God she has not spoken to since her parents died. She makes promises she does not know if she can keep. When the communication is restored, it is Marcus's voice that comes through first. "Target neutralized. Package is secure, returning to extraction point." Lily lets out a breath she did not know she was holding. Tears stream down her face as she watches the vehicles emerge from the compound, carrying Daniel and his team back to safety. Victor Castellano is in custody. His organization is shattered. The threat that has defined the past 2 years of Lily's life is finally, definitively over. 3 months later, Lily stands in the garden of the mansion, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The estate looks different now. The damage from Victor's intrusion has been repaired. New security measures are in place. And everywhere she looks, there are signs of new beginnings. Sophia is living in the guest house, working remotely for the non-profit in Portland, while her mother adjusts to her new life. Elena, the housekeeper, has taught Lily to make her grandmother's paella. Marcus has started smiling more often, now that the constant threat has been lifted. And Daniel is standing beside her, holding her hand. "I have something to ask you," he says. His voice is soft, almost shy, so different from the commanding tone he uses in his professional life. Lily turns to face him. The man before her is both familiar and transformed. He carries the same darkness he has always carried, the weight of his family's legacy and the choices he has made to survive. But he also carries something new: hope, possibility, love that has been tested and proven. "You asked me once what would happen when this was over," Daniel continues. "You told me to ask. You again when we were safe. So I am asking, Lily, not for forgiveness because I know that takes time, not for promises you are not ready to make, just for a chance, a real chance, a future that belongs to both of us." Lily looks at the ring he holds, simple and elegant, catching the dying light of the sun. She thinks about everything they have been through, the coffee shop where they met, the marriage built on secrets, the 18 months of silence, the revelation that changed everything, the danger they faced together, the love that survived it all. She does not say yes, not exactly. What she says is this: "Ask me again in the morning. when we have had all night to remember why we chose each other in the first place. And Daniel smiles, the first real smile she has seen from him in months, and pulls her into an embrace that feels like coming home. The morning comes soft and golden. Lily wakes in Daniel's arms, surrounded by silk sheets and the scent of cedar and safety. Outside, the window birds are singing. Inside her chest, something that has been broken for a very long time finally feels whole. She looks at Daniel, still sleeping beside her, and she makes her decision. "Yes," she whispers. "My answer is yes." He opens his eyes, and when he sees her face, he knows. He pulls her close and holds her like he will never let go. The wedding takes place 3 months later, in the garden where they watch so many sunsets together. Sophia serves as maid of honor. Marcus stands as best man. Elena weeps openly during the vows, and Chef Antonio creates a feast that will be talked about for years. But the most important moment comes at the end of the ceremony, when Daniel takes Lily's hand and speaks words that only she can hear. "On your birthday, I thought I had lost you forever. I thought the life I wanted was impossible. But you showed me that love is stronger than fear, stronger than secrets, stronger than anything the world can throw at us. I am yours, Lily. Today and always." Lily squeezes his hand and smiles through her tears. "And I am yours. No more running, no more hiding. Just us." They kiss as the sun sets behind them, casting long shadows across the garden that has witnessed so much of their story. In the distance, the mansion glows with warm light, filled with people who have become family. The storm is over, the waiting is done, and the love that began with a chance meeting in a coffee shop, that survived 18 months of silence and secrets, that was tested by danger and strengthened by truth, finally has its happy ending. If you have watched this far, it is because this story touched something inside you. Leave a comment saying, "I have watched this far." Let me know you are part of this community. I want to see who really appreciates the stories we share here on this channel, and if this story moved you, if it made you feel something real, please take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear it. These stories exist because of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Until next time.